Cool, cool, cool. All
All
right.
right.
I asked you all the questions. You
Yep.
answered the questions, and I was gonna shake it out. I'm doing all my intros and stuff now. Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes, and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out last week's episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda / seltzer water in the fridge. Sitting here today with my dude, Kevin Saftner. How do you pronounce your last name?
Saftner with no T, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, the T
Yep.
is silent.
That is silent. Yep.
Kevin Saftner.
Yep. You got it.
So, like, if it actually kind of has like it sounds way more Yinzer-ish. If you like Kevin Saftner.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? It does roll off the tongue in a very Yinzer way if you let it.
Cool. I mean, speaking of Yinzers, we can kind of just start here. Are you from Pittsburgh? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a little town called Hickory. Went to Fort Cherry High School, which is in Washington County.
Shout outs, Fort Cherry.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes. The best 70-person graduating class ever. Tiny little place, middle of nowhere. I, by far, am the most different person from the rest of the class out of anybody.
Okay.
definitely went a way different route than the rest of the country bumpkins I graduated with.
All right. And for those of you out there watching that don't know Kevin Saftner, what is it exactly that you do that makes you so different from them country bumpkins?
So I live in the city.
And?
So I own a company called James Street Promotions, and then I also work with MW Hospitality, which is a restaurant group that owns 7 restaurants around Market Square and around the city. Mainly book concerts, lots of concerts, events, do a lot of social media and marketing. So I right now I'm booking 7 different venues, from solo artists that are playing in the corner up to a 300-person capacity NX Brewing in Homestead. So pretty much booking concerts full time.
Cool. Yeah, we'll dig a little bit more into all of that. Speaking of concerts, before we get too deep into the episode, I want to just promote some events that I'm doing that Kevin has nothing to do with. But hey, he's just going to have to sit through this. June 22nd, Sykes and the New Violence is playing the album release for our friends in Old Game at Cativo. June 28th, I will be DJing at Harkin's album release at Mr. Smalls. June 29th, for those of you in Ohio, Sykes and the New Violence will be at the West Side Bowl in Youngstown, Ohio. And then the day after that, we'll be up in Norwalk, Ohio, Sykes and the New Violence at Charlie's. That's just outside of Sandusky, which, Cedar Point. Shout outs to Cedar Point.
So.
Fucking love that place. How are you with roller coasters? You a roller coaster guy?
You know what? I am a roller coaster guy, but I'm going to give you a shout out before we go any further, because I remember seeing you DJ one night, and it was just about closing down time, and I was hanging out with a pretty good crew, and they really wanted to hear some Gorillas, and I jumped up on stage and I said, "Sykes, can you get some Gorillas on?" And next song it was on, and those 7 girls were very happy.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what it's all about, man. Like, when it comes to the DJ events, I find myself really, I don't like to call myself a DJ because I feel like there's this sort of like pretentious air that goes with it. Like, I'm just somebody that's in the room playing music. And if somebody's in the room dancing, it's like, that's who you need to entertain them.
You're creating a good time. There's people that are there to be, there can be a pretentious air, you're right. But some people just want to have fun.
Yeah,
there's no reason not to just have fun.
I think there's a time and a place for DJs who DJ, they spin selfish sets. They have sets, like there's a place for that for sure. I mean, there's DJs that, tour all over the world and people go to see them do their thing.
Absolutely.
But, when I'm DJing at Brillo Box or Spirit or wherever, they're not there to see me. They just want to hear some music.
They're there to get down.
Somebody wants to hear Gorillas, I'm going to play it,
I appreciate that.
You got to keep people having fun, So we actually have a listener question that ties into Cedar Point and roller coasters. So I want to let's dig into this real quick. So I've actually been sitting on this one for a couple weeks. All right, my boy here. Oh, that's totally blown out on the screen. That's one issue thing I'm gonna have to figure out. You know what? I think the text would be so small anyways.
Yeah.
That they probably wouldn't be able to read it. But fuck it. Anyways, so Corny Bernazzoli, I think that's how you pronounce. I keep on asking Corey how he pronounces his last name, and he does not answer me. But I think it's Bernazzoli. So he said, So I listened to the new episode with Riparian and loved it. But it brings me to some questions maybe you can answer on a future episode, which is right now. What is your favorite overall roller coaster at Cedar Point?
Oh.
Have you been to Cedar Point?
Oh yeah, I've been to Cedar Point, but the last time I was there was when the Velociraptor was released, and it was the first roller coaster where your feet
Yeah.
dangle
Okay.
off of
So
it.
it's been a while
So
since you've
it's
been there.
been probably close to over 20 years. And I waited in line for like 5 hours to get on that roller coaster. And it was amazing. But then I got off and realized my whole family did like the whole park while I waited in line the whole day. And then I was like, oh man. So like as a 10-year-old kid, I was like, duh, but it was worth it though. It was worth it.
Totally. So, I mean, for the longest time, my favorite ride at Cedar Point was the Mean Streak, that big ass
Yeah,
wooden roller
that's a good
coaster
one.
in the
Yeah.
back. So the Mean Streak is no longer with us,
Oh, no way.
but they didn't tear down the track. What they did was they basically reformatted the track to have steel rails instead of wooden rails,
Okay.
and then they added some crazy like spinny loopy corkscrew stuff in with this big monstrosity, and it's like the funnest roller coaster I've ever rode in my life.
That's cool. They kept it but updated it.
Yeah,
So that's pretty
so
cool.
there was a year or two maybe when the Mean Streak was gone and Steel Vengeance hadn't opened yet, and that was a really sad time for
Yeah.
me at Cedar Point. I do like Cedar Point. I mean, there really isn't a bad coaster in the park, honestly, but Steel Vengeance is so sick. So if you get a chance to go back to Cedar Point this summer,
If you go this summer, let me know.
yeah. What are you? Do you know much about the new ride coming to Kennywood?
I don't know at all, actually. I heard about it on the news, in the
Yeah.
headline for 10 seconds, and then
Yeah.
that was
So
it.
yeah. The steel curtain.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. I think it's breaking 9 records.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the tallest roller coaster in Pennsylvania. Has like the tallest inversion and like I don't know all that. I would.
Straight to the Roller Coaster Hall of Fame, you're
Oh yeah,
saying?
yeah. It's gonna be fucking tight. I wish that I knew more about roller coasters than I do.
Yeah.
But I know enough that it's not ruined yet. Kind of like we'll say with event planning
Yeah.
or shows, the music industry.
Yeah.
You've been behind the curtain long enough now that I'm sure that some aspects of it are probably ruined, and some might be better that things you might have never known about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's well. I mean, it's probably any job is like that, though. Everything
enough.
has like this. It has this shimmer to it until you're in it every day, and everything loses its luster a little bit. I feel like.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. So with starting out and, promoting shows, we don't gotta like really dig into the history about like where you came from and all the things that you've done and places you've been. There's a whole lot there's some stuff we could get into, but
Yeah.
that it happened.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's going on now. You mentioned that you are, booking stuff at 7 different events,
Yeah. 7 different locations.
7
Yep.
different locations. I apologize. English speak.
Yeah. You love that button.
Oh, I got more, don't worry. So where are you doing stuff right now?
So right now, where I spend most of my time is Wolfie's Pub downtown. That came together with the John Valentine with the Pittsburgh CDC after James Street closed. He kept asking me, "Hey, we want to get more music downtown. We want to get more music downtown." Kept talking to me, and it was about a year went by. Wasn't sure what was going to happen. He said, "Hey, we're doing a press conference and we're going to talk about this. I'd love for you to speak." So I get down there, and he announces me as the guy that's booking all these venues. Yet I've never been in any of them yet. So I'm getting ready to go talk, and I'm nervous as hell because I don't know anything about any of the places. So I'm just winging it and telling him my story about James Street. And then I met Bob Wolfinger, who's the owner of Wolfie's, Molinaro, NOLA, and a bunch of other places. And we both were in the same boat where we were like, we didn't know that we were like saying we're doing this today. So we were like, we better figure this out. We talked about it, clicked. So that's kind of been my main hub as of right now. But I'm also booking NOLA, NX Brewing in Homestead. Going to be booking Voodoo Brewing in Homestead, Il Pizziol in Warrendale, Il Pizziol in Glenshaw. Going to be announcing Metropolitan Club, which used to be Perlay.
Where's that at?
That's going to be right above NOLA in Market Square.
Okay.
So it's like a 250 cap room. It has a private speakeasy connected to it and everything. So that's going to be June 14th and 15th will be the grand opening for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And all of those spaces are going to be hosting periodic live music at one point from time to time, or are you doing other sorts of events?
It's mainly going to be live music, but I'll work with anything. I mean, we do some fundraisers and private events, lots of stuff with like Pittsburgh's 50 Finest. So we'll do anything and everything, but my main work is in music.
Yeah. So with, these doing like live music and bringing it into restaurants, for example, I know that Wolfie's just opened up and started doing stuff recently.
Yeah,
How's
2 months ago,
yeah,
pretty
how's
much.
that how's these first 2 months been with Wolfie's?
It's been pretty good. It's slowly growing. Once summer gets here and everybody's walking around more, and market squares, you know, you see a lot more stuff going on in Market Square. That'll start helping
Yeah.
us even more and
It's
more.
such an interesting thing because I find that a place like Wolfie, I know where it is. I walk past it every morning.
Yeah,
So I haven't been in there yet because I'm only there in the mornings.
yeah,
But when I'm going past it, I'm like, this is such a killer location
yeah,
for something. But there is no real like youth that kind of hangs out
yeah.
down in that area. And
It's
I also don't. Is it like a 21 up thing right now?
no, it's a restaurant, so it's all ages,
Okay.
but it is a very different. You get a great happy hour. Everybody comes after work, so that's what's down there. Downtown still is quiet after 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So it's definitely a different beast than anything else I've ever worked with. I've never been in this situation. I guess a little bit it was with James Street, where the north side wasn't very savory 10 years ago. So it was kind of hard to get people to come over there at first, but once they did, it was eventually it got better, more or less. And I think downtown will be the same thing. And I think there's a lot of people down there trying to make things happen, a lot of different businesses, a lot of different people going down there. There's people moving there, it seems like, for the first time. So hopefully this is just one part of the process of helping it become more of a nightlife area.
Yeah, totally. I think that it's just it's a domino effect with
Yeah.
anything, you know
Yep.
what I mean? It's like there's really no good reason to go down to the south side other than the fact that that's where everybody else you
Yeah.
know is going to
Yep.
be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think anybody likes hanging out at, whatever place they go to down there
Yeah.
that much. It's just the fact that their crew is there.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of finding ways to get crews into Market Square, which I think is a
Exactly.
great area. It's so especially in the summertime,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
beautiful.
there's so much space to like just relax and
Yeah.
actually spread your arms without
Yeah.
bumping into somebody on East
Yeah.
Carson Street.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. And there's a lot of cool programming that's going to be set up for down there this summer that I've been hearing about. And I think they're really, really, like, the PDP and the downtown CDC are really working on bringing more nightlife and more cultural things that are more accessible beyond the high end.
Sure.
A lot of the stuff that's going on down there in the cultural district is geared towards people with 40 plus with tons of
Yeah,
expendable
that
income. Me and you aren't going to that, and I don't have a lot of friends
mm-mm.
that have ever gone to that.
No, that was gonna be my next sort of question, was about, like, bringing music into these spaces, I think is definitely a good way to get
Yes.
younger people to come down, but what type of music? Like, where do we draw the line on, like, what is, air quote, "too much"?
Yeah.
Because I know that, like, obviously, you can't have, like, Grey Walker playing in a
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah.
We
That
can't
that
do it.
that.
Like, I'm not I'm not I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not as much as I would like to do it, I'm not
Yeah.
ignorant. Like, I know
Yeah.
that I understand why there is a line that's drawn, but also a lot of the time when you have bands playing at these sort of places, it is the type of stuff that maybe somebody younger, they're not gonna blink an
Yeah.
eye at it. So you're not gonna be able to get that crew down there that's gonna keep coming
Yeah.
back. 'Cause I think that's a big problem with, like, older people that go out to restaurants and things like that. It's like, they don't come back every weekend,
Yeah.
which is kinda what you kinda want repeat business
Yeah.
as a bar or a restaurant or something like
Oh
that. You
yeah.
need people that are gonna be there every week, every other week. And,
Yeah.
that's a long way for me to ask, like, where is the line drawn with, like, what is too much, and what kind of music are you looking to
S-
book that
s-
might be out of the norm?
So I'm always willing to work with anybody that does anything. If I've worked with all styles of music, from country to metal to hip hop to EDM, like everything. So where I'm lucky now is that I have so many different places that I'm booking that I no longer have to force something into a room that it doesn't fit in.
True, you have a space
So
for it.
I have, if you're a solo acoustic musician, you're not playing at NX where it can hold 300 people. That's not going to work. Now, Grey Walker could play there. That it's an outdoor area, anybody could play there. So I wouldn't have to force you guys into anywhere. Now, I wouldn't put a jazz trio at an outdoor 300 person venue, but at Wolfie's, where you're playing in a chilled out vibe corner next to the bar, fits perfectly. So that's one of the things that's advantageous for me is I never have to force any show into any room anymore. some venues try to force the wrong things, and sometimes that comes back to bite you, you know? So
Totally.
you don't want to, you don't ever want to offend, you want everybody to be happy, or as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think that that's a thing that a lot of people overlook from a not just the promotional side, but I guess just
Yeah.
like the structural side of how an event works. And I have been kind of talking about this a lot on the podcast. So for people that listen, I apologize, but me and Kevin are having a moment here. So I gotta, I'm gonna have this
Let's
conversation with you again now too, in the terms of like the ways that people that are setting up events drop the ball on like forgetting that it's for a certain group of people that come out to that space. And you need to, when you're booking an event, it's really important to think about, is the space right for the event?
Yeah, you want to, you can't always be perfect with that, obviously, but you want to do your best. I mean, there's certain
It's
things that are going to work at Howlers that aren't going to work at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater, that aren't going to work in.
what a comparison.
Yeah, you know, but sometimes I've been to things where you're just like, what is happening
Sure,
here?
sure.
And there's no way that, that however well you curate it, it's just not going to fit in that room.
Uh huh.
And it's like, no, the band's not going to feel good on that stage. And it's like, no one's just going to feel right. Like, if it just doesn't feel natural to you and feel right, then it's just going to have, the whole night's going to be a little off. Now, that's everybody makes mistakes. You
Uh
know,
huh.
you
Yeah.
make it and carry on. That's all.
People like you who have worked and currently do work in a variety of venues that cater to a variety of different styles, and somebody like me who hosts this show and talks to people from all over the map, we see a lot more of the city than we'll say like the average person does.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, given that perspective, you have the take that there's a lot going on in the city, and Pittsburgh music or whatever is very far from being a dead thing.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. There's so much happening here. There's so much great talent. There's tons of good venues. There's hardworking people. People, Pittsburgh. It's hard to realize we're a C-class music city. We're not a big city. Sh- Cleveland's double the size of Pittsburgh. Double the size. They're like 600, 700,000. We're like 350,000. Like, we're not that big of a city, and for what we do great. We have great music festivals, we have great bands, we have people leaving, we have people touring, we have people on festival bills, we have festivals here. There's Resonance Festival run by Papadozio is coming to Slippery Rock now, so there's people coming and bringing things here. Could things be better? Absolutely, but you just got to go out. If you don't like how things are, go change them.
Yeah, my
You know.
that's always the I like chiming in on comment threads when people are complaining about the way shows are promoted and things like that. And I know I'm very confident that the person that's doing said complaining has never tried to
Yeah.
set up an event.
I
It's just
mean,
like, hey,
I'm in the music business. I wake up every day at 6 a.m. and start working then, and we're doing filming this at 7 o'clock. I'm gonna go home and get back on my computer and
yeah,
work more. So, I mean,
7 p.m.
yes,
to be clear.
7 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He woke up at 6 a.m. It is now 7 p.m.
yeah. Well, maybe even 8 p.m. now.
I
That's
am
getting
not
close.
drinking beer at 7 in the morning. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Just
nothing wrong with that.
I
Certain
just want to I
holidays.
just want to make that clear, okay? I mean, trying to stay a little PG-13 up in here.
It's always St. Patty's Day on the north side.
But the question I was going to ask is like, what advice or words would you share to kind of try to get people out of that mindset? Like, what do you think?
You know what? It's, I don't know what you really say to somebody to get them out of a mindset. You've got to just do it yourself. Like, if you want it, you got to get out there and get it. Like, for instance, I'm not sure if you went to the Pittsburgh Music Ecosystem thing at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater, which,
No, I missed that, but I did hear all about it.
yeah, and that's honestly why I use that as a comparison, because it was on top of my head right now, and I walked into that and I just could see that everybody was just going to complain. So I had like my crew with me, and I saw where this was going. And 5 minutes in, I looked at everybody, and said, "Hey, hang for the rest of the time. Let me know what everybody says." But I was like, I got work to do. I was like, I got shows to promote and venues to
Hell
promote.
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna go do stuff to make the scene better.
That
I'm not
was
gonna sit here and talk
yeah,
about it.
that
You
was
know?
that was kind of my perspective on it too. I knew that, I had band practice and shit to work on, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I think I would rather do that instead of I don't know. It was like kind of what I thought this ecosystem thing was kind of like what I already do once a week on the show. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I sit down and I talk with people and I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I skipped on. I ended up going to the next one.
yeah.
They had like the follow up at the Hard Rock.
The meet and greet. I was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, their heart was in the right place for all that. I mean, you know what? They tried. They tried something. You know what? I will never get mad at anybody who tries to make something better. If it doesn't turn out everybody wants it, you tried. Like, I fuck up every day, and like, whatever. I just keep going. You know?
Totally. I think there's something to be said about people that have the mindset that everything needs to be perfect or mind
Yeah.
blowing. Like we'll say somebody puts out a new album and like you'll see somebody be like, "Oh, like I listened to that, but it wasn't mind blowing. It was like does everything
Yo,
in your life
they put an album out.
Yeah, does
Like,
everything need to be mind blowing?
yeah. I mean, people.
Do you need to be that impressed all the time?
It's, you know what, I battle, and I like, it's funny you're bringing this up because I was literally reading a little bit about this like right before we came up here, and it was just like, you know, you don't have to expect perfection all the time. Nobody. It was written by a Navy SEAL, and he's like, one of the things they taught you were like, you're not going to be perfect. So they would make them roll in sand so that they would have to run and do this crazy vigorous stuff with sand. And he's like, it's terrible. You're running 20 miles with sand all over. He's like, it's horrible. But he's like, they wouldn't do that as a punishment for you doing anything wrong. They would just do that to show you that it's not going to be perfect. No matter how good you are, something's going to go wrong. You just have to carry on. So you can't get mad if like one song's bad on an album, one show's bad, one thing goes wrong. Like, it's not going to be perfect. Just accept it.
Yeah, it's, keep your
Mhm.
expectations in check.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's I don't get it. But you know, speaking of other people's expectations
Yeah.
and other human beings, let's smash another listener question here. This has
All right.
been kind of fun. Just digging into these with the guest. Oh, there goes the screen again, going nuts. I should probably grab the remote and turn down the brightness on this new TV. What do you think?
Well, give it a shot.
I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna grab the growler.
All right.
Check this out. All right.
This is staying on, apparently. Filling up a beer.
Yeah,
Oh.
that wasn't too long, right?
No, it's fine.
Couple seconds. Put this right here. Shout outs to Arkham Realty.
Yeah. Nice little space.
Thanks, Steve. All right. Or Stefan. Sorry.
Nice billboard, Stefan. I've seen them up around town. Good work.
Let's see if turning the brightness down helps.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah,
Oh yeah. That's not too bad.
yeah.
And then
I can see it better from here.
if I just temporarily adjusted the where should I put this remote? All right. Sorry for anybody that's not watching video. If you're listening to audio only, this is only more of a reason for you to get your ass on YouTube and or Facebook and, you know, watch this shit there. Watch the video. I got to turn the brightness down on this camera.
Oh yeah, man.
That's not too bad. That's
Oh,
a
no,
little
that-
better.
That's I can.
At least
totally
it's not completely blown out,
Yeah.
right? All right. Okay. Cool. Here we are. We've dimmed the lights in the room magically. And we got some listener questions in the building. There's a whole bunch of these. I'm not going to go through all of them. Shout outs to Jeff Betton. I answered one of yours last time, so I'm skipping you. John Knoll, you're always asking good questions.
the deep and introspective.
This is a
ones.
good one. I saw this earlier. The homie D, Bruiser Beep, Start the Beat alumni, asked a really good question here. Tell us about the most bizarre conversation with an Uber/Lyft driver you've experienced.
Man.
I had one actually just a couple days ago when I got in the car, and this has happened before. I get in the car and the driver asks, "Hey, what kind of music do you like?" And I typically say, "Whatever,"
Yeah.
because I don't care. Like, just listen to whatever you're going to listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I said that, and then the driver got an attitude with me. And she was like, "Just pick something." Like, she wasn't even starting the car until I would pick something. And I ended
That's
up,
kind of awkward.
yeah, but I was me being
So
stubborn.
what'd you pick?
Oh, I was stubborn as fuck. I didn't pick anything. Then she ended up putting on 21 Pilots, which was the last thing in the world
Yeah.
I was expecting. I don't know. Maybe she like looked at me and saw like, you know, like white looking, like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
urban dude. Like maybe I look like a 21
Yeah.
Pilots fan. I have no idea. Shout outs to them. I don't really have too much of a
So
beef with them, but that was kind of weird because just like she was so grumpy unnecessarily, and then like she was one of those people that just complained about everything. It's like she couldn't not talk. So even if I would have had her put on something that I wanted to listen to, she would have been complaining about traffic on top of
yeah.
it the entire time, anyways.
Yeah. So me and my sister, we went out to Philly, and my brother was in a wedding, so like my parents were all out there, and I hadn't seen my sister in a while, so we stayed out a little bit later than everybody else. We're like, all right, let's tie one on and have a good time.
All right.
And so we get it. We finally she's pretty hammered. I was like, we better get an Uber back. So we're in the Uber driving back, and she's really bugging the Uber driver, and he's a tough dude from inner Philly. Not somebody I'd want to mess with. She keeps bugging him, and then she like starts touching his shoulders, and he's like, "Do not touch me one more time." And I was like, "Kate," and she's like, "You better take that back, sir. We're paying for the ride." I was like, "Kate, you better calm down." And she touched his shoulder one more time, pulled that thing right over, dropped us off right there on the side of that road. And I was like, "All right, I'm glad we're walking away from this." It was nerve-wracking. So I guess
Oh,
the bizarre part of the conversation was on my sister's end, not on the Uber
yeah,
driver at all.
totally.
Sorry,
That's
Kate.
dude, I had one another time where the driver had like a dash cam and was like asking it was like doing like some like generic like MTV show thing and was like asking me quizzes and would give me candy if I got the
That's
questions right. That was the
that's
worst.
either like a real safe situation or it's going to turn into some creepy
Well,
porn.
the fucking
Like
the
I don't
fucking
know
dude
which
was so
way.
preoccupied with looking at the papers on his questions that he missed
Uh,
the exit we were supposed to
yeah,
take. And it was just like, God damn it, dude.
that's a 1 star right
You
there.
fucking cornball. So that's that, like fuck man. All right. So what do we got here? Colt asks, if you were a mad scientist with any and all resources available, what would experiment
Well,
what would you experiment on slash with?
oof. Now that. That is definitely a question I've never even come close to
Yeah,
pondering on in my whole
a
entire
question
life.
like this is like it'll make you think it'll make you step outside of yourself, for you Kevin
Yeah.
as an event planner, what might you do?
I mean, I guess I would want to study the musician's brain
Okay.
to understand what the fuck they're
To
thinking.
understand why they have to be late for everything.
Why is it always so loud? How can the guitar amp be that loud again?
Totally, totally. I think that I have a pretty generic answer, but I think that time travel or
Oh yeah.
teleportation, something like that would be really cool. I'd actually be more interested in
Oh
teleportation than time travel. Just
yeah.
being able to get to point A to point B quicker.
Beam me up, Scotty. Hell yeah.
Like I would fuck with that super heavy.
Yeah.
Somebody like you, Kevin, I imagine you could probably benefit from teleporting as well. It seems like you're somebody that does a lot in a day.
Yeah.
What is like the typical daily routine for you? And let's start where it fucking matters. Breakfast.
So you know what? I have been kind of getting away from breakfast lately because I've been getting up so early. So I
Six
normally
o'clock, you said.
yeah, I normally get up like 6.
I know like half your schedule
Yeah,
now.
yeah, well, that's one thousandth of it. So I'm gonna get up, send some emails, do all that stuff, take the dog for a walk, and then I normally try to read for like half an hour or something, and then I head downtown and try to squeeze as much like computer work in where I want nobody to bother me for the next 2 hours and get as much done as I can in promo stuff.
Okay, so two questions.
Yeah.
Where do you typically go to get work done and
I,
be left alone? I don't want to blow up your
No,
spot.
no. So like right now, like I'll go to Wolfie's. It's
Okay.
not open till 11, but I'll get there at like 8 in the morning, 8:30.
That's a nice
and
luxury.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I'll just kind of sit at the bar and nobody's gonna be in
Dude,
there.
you might be in there when I'm passing.
Yeah,
I might stick my head in the
I've-
window and be
I've-
like, "Yo, Kevin."
It's me and the cleaning guy normally. So
Cool.
yep, he's in there rapping, mopping the
Yeah,
floors.
sometimes
I'll bust a few raps out with him.
I'll-
We have a good time.
I'll go to Bluebird across the street and
Oh
get
yeah,
an
I
egg
love
sandwich.
Bluebird. Oh yeah, I love Bluebird. They got good smoothies there too.
Yeah.
I'm a smoothie guy, so.
Killer.
But yeah, so that, and then I pretty much like today I had a meeting at the Abbey, and then had a interview at 1, and then had a telephone interview with somebody at 3, and then hit some more meetings real quick. Stopped here at Penn Brewery, had nice, delicious dinner, and then I'm up here, So it's
Killer.
kind of just I've gone over my miles on my lease for the year, and I have 4 months left on the year, so I'm in trouble.
Rewinding, you also mentioned that you had a dog.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Let's talk about
Olaf.
your dog, Olaf.
Olaf, yeah, he was a rescue. He's very, very scared of kitchens for some reason, which is a huge problem because they're in every house. He gets to the kitchen
Is it
line.
like the floor, maybe?
I don't know. He was a rescue that was like abused, so like
Sure.
he had some like weird tendencies.
What
And
kind of dog is it?
he's a mutt. He's like a chocolate lab pit bull
Okay.
something. He's like 40 pounds. He's so cute. Like when he's ready for bed, like I'll be under the covers. He comes up to the top and he paws at him, and I know it's time to like lift it up, and he just nuzzles right under there. And I'm like, I love you, Olaf. You're the best. How you doing, buddy?
Olaf is killer. Yo, you got a picture of Olaf on your
Oh
phone?
my, you better believe it.
Let's you got to show off. You can't talk about Olaf
Oh
without.
yeah, let me.
I was down the street at Allegheny City
So
Brewing.
this is him giving up the belly this morning. That one's
Okay.
inappropriate. Hold on, I got a good
I was
one.
gonna say
I got a good one here somewhere.
I was down the street at Allegheny City Brewing last week,
I love
and there was
ACB.
this huge husky. It was the prettiest fucking dog I've ever seen. I need to like move. I was talking to my girlfriend about this.
There
We
he
need to
is
like
there.
we need to move into a house. Look at that! Look at that, dude. So let's get this. Again, another reason why you
Yep.
need to be watching.
Yeah. Y- oh yeah. Well, he's cute. Just trust us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So been talking a lot about like we need to get a house now that's bigger because where we're at now, we can't have we couldn't even have a small dog there,
Yeah.
let alone like a huge. We don't have a yard or anything,
Yeah.
and that just really sucks. So now, I mean, I guess growing up and adulting and
Yeah.
housing and things like that. Do you own or rent?
Yeah. I bought a house 2.5 years ago now.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
It was nerve-wracking. Super buyer's remorse for about a month or two.
Where'd you buy it?
Brighton Heights on the north
Okay,
side.
cool.
So, and I love it over there. It's super quiet. It was like I said, I had buyer's remorse for like the first month or two, but then after I was afraid because I was like I'm stuck. But then I like realized actually I'm like less stuck than ever before. I could just rent I have 2 roommates. I could just rent my other room out and probably make money and go do whatever I wanted. So I was like, this actually, it's the opposite of how I felt. Once I
Totally.
realized that, I was like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, I think that just having the freedom and being able to have something that's yours, I think means a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I rent right now.
Yeah.
But I really do want to buy a house at some
Yeah.
point in time in the nearish future.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like even just saying that out loud, because
Yeah,
it just feels so weird, like especially for me, like coming up as somebody that I've been like perpetually 16 for the past 16 years of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I kind of stopped there. It feels weird to like admit and be comfortable and even like feel like I'm in a place where like
Yeah.
buying a house is a viable thing and it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but
It
it
is,
isn't.
but
It's,
it
it's,
isn't.
it's a normal thing to happen, but it's definitely, I'm going to tell you, they need a lot of paperwork from you. It is a process. Like those banks, they ain't giving any subprime
Sure.
loans out anymore.
Yeah, well, I do fortunately share a space with somebody who is in real estate
Oh yeah.
here.
There you go.
Again, shout outs to Arkham Realty giving all these free. He doesn't sponsor the cast, but you're getting all this free promo today, dude.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know really the first thing about anything other than I should look for something with like a door and a roof.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to have at least I have that connection, that friend where I can ask questions
Yeah.
and maybe get some answers and things
Yeah.
like that. I think that I imagine this can relate back into event planning and what you do on your day to day. How important other people really are, even if like you have like kind of like a solitary position. It's
Yeah.
almost impossible for you to do everything else without at least some assistance from other people.
Oh yeah, I mean it's everything in life, every job's like that. I mean, I work with Emily Kelly, who's like my business partner. She handles a lot of like the social media and a lot of like the like administrative stuff, like
Mhm.
updating websites and newspapers and that sort of stuff. Um, I have Jake Belair, who's my graphic design guy. You probably know Jake from Malevolence. Do you remember that band back in the day?
Yeah,
He was the drummer
I
for
do
that.
remember that band. The name's not familiar to me. Maybe I'm sure if I saw him, I'd be
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. So actually, I have to tell my brother I'm on here too because he always remembers you because
okay.
he always talk about it, like Sykes. He's like, I remember he was doing all that hip hop at all the metal shows back in the day.
I mean, I'm still kind of doing
Yeah, and
it.
I was like, Dan, I think
Like
he's
I
still.
said, like
I was
I,
like,
s-
I think he's doing the same stuff still, Dan.
I literally just said 5 minutes ago I've been 16 for the past 16 years. Like I haven't changed that much.
That's yeah. You know what? I kind of feel like I was at that same point, like with James Street. I still was doing. I still was in the young party phase, and I was in the scene, and I was like, I was hanging with all the bands all the time. I was having a lot of fun. Let's put it that way, all the time, and it was kind of cool to have that break in between to really like be a little introspective on things and how I wanted to handle it when I got a second chance, and now I'm getting that second chance and I'm being much more waking up at 6 a.m., not going to bed at 6 a.m. And
Totally.
it's kind of nice.
Totally. So, with somebody in your position who is event planning, you're stuck at places pretty late. You know, do you have like a place where you like to go after a show and grab a bite to eat or grab a drink? Or do you just find yourself you like a go home kind of guy?
I'm normally just a go home kind of guy. Definitely during the work week. On weekends, it depends. I mean, a lot of times I'll just go home. But if I go, like, I'll catch me a Brillo box sometimes, or if Spirit has a good show going on. Um, I'm not exactly as much of the production manager, so most of my work is more computer work. So it's not like I have to be there. Like, for instance, at a show at NX, like I'm not running the sound. I'm not the guy that has to hand out
Fair
the
enough.
paycheck at the end. So if I didn't show up, it would go. It would still be okay. So I still
Yeah,
get to have some fun.
you're
So I
doing
like to
yeah,
go to some
you're in
shows.
charge of the 8 a.m. stuff, not the
Yeah,
8 p.m.
yes,
stuff.
yes, more now, which
God.
which is great. I love that. Like
Yeah,
that was the hardest thing. Where like at James Street, like I was like I was making the schedule for the server sometimes, and
sure.
we're out of beer, you're running the beer distributor, and then you got a show that's going until 1 in the morning, and you're like, oh man, I've been here for 18 hours now. Like I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore because that was not a sustainable way to live life forever.
Yeah, I definitely I've always like I know that I could like thrive well in working in that environment.
Yeah,
And I know that, there are places that people I know have places and I know I could like work on some off nights and make some
yeah,
extra money. It's just like the last thing in the world I want to do is be at a venue later than I have to be,
yeah,
especially if I'm not like performing.
yeah,
Sometimes it's really hard for me to even like get out of the house to do like a DJ thing, which I
yeah.
like to do, but man, it
That's
sucks being out that
and
late sometimes.
it is, and it also it's like whenever you're doing it all day every day and you do it professionally, it's like, do I just want to go do this same thing somewhere else now? Sometimes now it's like I find myself playing a lot more video games and reading a
Yeah.
lot more.
It always I understand where
Yeah,
this mindset comes from, but it always blows my mind. Like sometimes I'll be downtown, like I'll be at Condado because
yeah,
they're open a little bit
yeah.
later.
I do like that place.
And yeah, shout outs to them. I'm
Yep.
not gonna hit the button, but shout outs to them. But I'll be in there like when a lot of the other restaurants around there close, and it's like everybody from the
Comes
other
in.
a lot of the
Yep.
staff kind of goes in there. And I guess like part of me is like, why would I want to be in another bar after leaving a bar? But they come in there and they all know each other because you
Yeah,
feel at like one point in time they worked at different places down there together.
yeah,
And then that ties into that community thing that we were
yeah,
talking about at the beginning of the beginning of the cast,
yeah,
where that's what's going to get people coming back. The fact that
yeah,
their crew is going to be there.
yeah.
So just like finding ways to facilitate that crew and get it coming back. You've been doing like an open mic at Wolfie's, right? You've done that
Yeah.
a couple
Yep.
times.
Yeah. So there's open mic at Wolfie's, and then also at NX on Wednesdays. Eden Sparks, Brandon Lehman, and
Yeah.
Benji.
That's-
There's a killer trio that hosts that, and then Thursdays at Wolfie's. That's a different host every week. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that. And it's that those are cool to get different people in there, and it's kind of like what you're saying. So you're getting different people coming together and showing up in a spot, and like I always, whenever I look at shows and events, like I get hired, like people always hire me to book shows. I'm like, anybody can book a show. Call somebody, say, "Hey, do you want to play? Here's the time. This is how much money." Done. Like that's
I
easy.
mean, that's really complicated for some people.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it that it is. I mean, it's not that simple. I mean, I guess I'll probably book 700 shows this year. So for me now, it's just like what I do all day. What's hard is getting people out there. And I look at shows when I talk to people and new clients as marketing, because what I'm doing is getting different people to come into your establishment, buy food and drinks. Hopefully you take care of them. They have a good time, and then they come back for another
Yeah.
show, or they just come back for lunch. And that's the goal. Is you're not going to make money on every show, never. But if you take care of everybody, it becomes that hub where people start coming back. And that's what James Street really became. And where I learned to do that was it became a hub for all sorts of people and all sorts of things.
Yeah, you got to give people a reason to come out to the event. It's
Yeah.
so fucking important.
Yeah.
It's, a lot of people that book shows just like make the mistake of just doing it really selfishly, and in the sense of, okay, I got my band, we're going to play. People are just going to show up and then we're going
Yeah.
to leave.
That's
It's like,
I mean,
no, like
that-
book your show at a venue that
Yep.
can really like, a lot of the time, especially for us, I mean, like, like I'm in my 30s. A lot of the people that come out to see me, they're in a similar age range.
Yeah.
It might be the one night a week that they're able to go out.
Right.
So they want to go out and they want to be able to get food. They want to get drinks.
Yeah.
I'm not the only reason they're going out.
Yeah.
I'm just a
It's
part of it.
it's a part of an event.
So it's a matter
Yeah.
of like, okay, if I'm going to set something up, I want to set up kind of like an all inclusive sort of
Yes.
thing where everybody can get what they need at this one place.
Yeah, that's like I'm 33 now. I've kind of moved past the, hey, we're throwing a rager, everybody's drinking 6 kegs of PBR. I just don't have that clientele, nor do I think I'd be able to even go back to doing anything like that now. I mean, it's about everybody coming in, buying a burger and 2 glasses of wine now. It's a different ball game than it used to be.
Totally. Have you? I mean, I don't. I imagine you're probably familiar with the way a lot of comedy clubs work, in the sense that they kind of have like drink minimums and things like that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to like put that into the music scene?
No, not at
I'm
all.
not saying that I want to, but I just had that thought, and I was like, what if shows were like that?
I mean, I think,
How did that become a thing in the comedy scene?
so. Without having any knowledge, I have a definitely pretty good guess. I feel like, definitely a different crowd. It's a little more of a niche market, a little bit more unique, I guess you could say. Maybe not as many drinkers into comedy as somebody that's coming to a rock show. Music and beer, if there's 2 things that go better together, I don't know what it is. Like that is just such a common thing of partying.
Uh-huh.
Comedy clubs aren't as up and moving and stuff like that. So, and I would imagine that they just had, there probably was so many issues that it became such a common thing that they just had to do it, because
Yeah.
you hear it everywhere. There's always a 2-drink minimum
Uh-huh.
every comedy club, which is like weird. You
Yeah,
know?
I remember the first time I saw it happen. It was like, God, like I had just turned 21, and I went and I saw Tom Green, and like I wasn't even.
He's coming
drinking.
again soon. He's coming again soon.
Yeah,
I think.
I heard about
I'd
that.
love to see that.
I wasn't even drinking, and I was like, I don't even know like what to do. I don't even know how it happened. I was at that show with Steve, by the way. Again, shout outs, Arkham Realty. We saw Tom Green together like 12 years ago, but
Yeah.
I don't even know what I did. I think maybe I may have ordered beers and then they drank them or
Yeah.
something like that. I have no idea.
Probably also, instead of having a $40 ticket, now it's a $20 ticket. And you don't realize it till you get there, and then you have to buy 2 more beers. Now it's a $40 ticket. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. It's like one of those.
It's a promoter trick.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Black Friday thing.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the TV's on sale, but they charge you double for the accessories.
Yeah.
That you don't think
Yeah.
about needing. I don't know. That's businesses fucking.
Yeah. It's brutal.
There's a lot of like sleazy stuff to business that, from my time spent behind the curtain, that like when I was younger, I would have been like, fuck that. But now I'm a little bit older and I understand how the gears kind of turn.
Yeah.
Part of me is still like, fuck that. But part of me is like, good for you.
Yeah.
At the same time, like finding like, there's this fine line between just being like a smart business person and being like like the smart
Yeah.
and sleaze is
I, I,
so
s- I-
it's
I
a
s-
tightrope.
it really is, and I see a lot of things. If it is bad and harmful to somebody, absolutely unacceptable. But I see a lot of things that happen where people are like, they just don't like the people and they don't like the way it's done. It's like, man, it's not breaking a law. And you know what? If you were in the same position, you'd do the same exact thing. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And so I never get mad at anybody. Hey, if you're out there hustling and trying and doing things like, you know, you're doing more than other people are. So I'll never hold it against you, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, it's I don't know. Every scenario is different, but there is what? I didn't hear you for a second, and then I caught it, and I was like,
I'm not saying what I said.
"That's really funny."
Yeah. Happen to be
These microphones work a little better than you might think, dude. I'm sure we'll see how that
man.
goes. That's okay.
Having to be politically correct all the time sucks.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah, nobody from that venue is paying attention to this.
That's the one thing that I miss about James Street the most. Like I used to be able to just like I do have to like watch myself now because like I used to be able to say whatever I wanted. Like I'd be super political and just like go off crazy atheist rants, like whatever. And but then now I'm like, I got to be a little more. I don't know who's watching nowadays.
Sure,
you
it's
got to
like
be a little more responsible.
you're kind of like a representation for somebody else's brand.
Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I represent 7 different places that their staff members depend on decisions I make to make them money to feed their families and pay off college and pay all their school loans. So, like, no, I can't say those funny things anymore that I want to say.
That's okay. It's okay. I mean, sometimes maybe it's for the better to
Yeah.
kind of keep some things under wraps. Speaking of feeding friends and family, you had mentioned a little bit ago that you ate tonight down at Penn Brewery,
Oh,
which
yeah.
we are literally on top of right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've really talked about the location of the podcast yet.
Oh,
But,
all right.
I mean, the new show now, I mean, yeah, we are literally above, I'm sitting on top of Penn Brewery right now. Shout outs to them. And, I've been doing these segments now where I just kind of suggest some things.
Okay.
And I'm going to, just say, you got to eat this. Penn Brewery, overlooked as fuck, especially for people that are vegan/vegetarian. There are a lot of surprising vegetarian friendly things on the menu.
Yeah. I actually noticed that when I was sitting down there because I haven't eaten here in a couple years at this point. And yeah, it's a huge menu actually.
Yeah, and it's really, really good. I think, obviously, for people that are into like, traditional German style food, they've
Yeah.
probably already been coming here and they know what the fucking deal is. But for people that maybe aren't or vegetarian vegan types, you could definitely come here and get some fucking killer, like award winning national beer and like a really good plate of fucking like barbecue jackfruit sliders.
Yeah, I saw that. And I was like, that's crazy.
They're really good. They're really, really good. So yeah, if you haven't been down here in a while and you are, someone with those dietary restrictions, or you just think that everything on the menu here is like, brats and pretzels, you're wrong. And Penn Brewery, you got to eat it. You got any suggestions for places like under the radar sort of places?
Oh, man, under the radar. You know what? Honestly, not that much anymore because I've been like so busy, and I've also been working on meal prepping a lot. So I've been doing a lot of cooking at home.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I haven't been going out and eating too much, but I will, I guess, actually say NX has amazing food. It's a family that owns that place, and the guy that created the menu is also the head brewer. And like he was a chef like in Spain and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I believe, and like all through Europe, and like all their food's like Spanish like influence. And I had these croquetas yesterday that had like this Roquefort cheese or something like that in it. Bomb.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
good.
yeah. Shout outs to Enix. That place is awesome. I actually my friend John Paul, who was on the show, his family is part of like he's related with the people that run
Okay.
Enix. So whenever they were getting ready to open that place, he was on the show and he was telling me about it. And I went down there, I had some food, I had some beers, and everything was great. I would go in there a lot more frequently if I was just on that side of town more.
Yeah.
But
Well, hey, I just
Hey.
had an August 17th open up if Gray Walker needs an outdoor show at a 300 cap venue that wants to throw down some grimy metal party.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. But what I was gonna say, rewinding our whole conversation, theme parks. roller coasters. Kennywood. I got my season pass for Kennywood, and
Oh.
Kennywood is now officially open, like, every day of the
Oh, it
week.
is? Oh, yeah,
Yes,
I guess after
it
after the
started.
holiday. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So I'm gonna be heading down that way a lot more.
All
And
right.
me and Stacy, we would typically stop at Voodoo before going to Kennywood. So now maybe we could stop at Enix. We'll flip flop it.
Or you can hit both, get a beer at both places. They are
I
literally 3
mean,
blocks away from each other.
that is true, but I mean, at some point in time, you got to get on a roller coaster. And like,
Yeah.
how many beers can you drink and successfully ride a roller coaster in the heat?
There's only one way to find out. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So stop down to Enix if you've been there. It's in Homestead. That place is awesome. And then let's move forward. Been watching way more television than I have recently, and that's also thanks to my girlfriend. She's really big into a lot of the Netflix shows. And
Okay.
I've like kind of gotten suckered into it. So I'm just gonna say real quick, you got to see this.
Ooh.
Riverdale season 3. Fucking awesome.
Are you serious?
I am all in. I am all in.
I've seen that. It pops up on my Netflix for 7 years now. And it wants me to watch it. And all I thought was like, this seems like something my sister would watch in junior high.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It is. It kind of is, but like it's kind of fucked up. Like it's like,
Oh, is it?
yeah. So so I remember watching the first season when it came out, and I was like, I could take it or leave it. Stacy was super into it. And then they started doing the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Did you watch that?
No.
So Sabrina is sick.
Yeah.
It's like if Mean Girls met Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All right.
So it's like really like it's corny, but it's self-aware.
Okay.
And I like Sabrina a lot, but they exist in the same universe.
Okay.
Sabrina and Riverdale. So Riverdale now has gotten a little bit more like culty and spooky, and it like still has all of the like teenage drama silliness to it, but it also has all this cool kind of like horror spooky stuff to
Yeah.
it as well, especially in season 3. And yeah, I like it. I mean, I like cheesy TV.
Did you
Yeah.
watch the OA?
No.
Oh my God.
What's that?
That's one of my favorite shows ever.
Okay.
It's amazing on Netflix. I couldn't even tell you what it's about.
Okay.
It's 2 seasons. It's sort of sci-fi. There's time travel, space.
Okay. I like sci-fi shit.
Yeah, but it's like, no, I don't know if it's sci-fi though. And The Expanse is the best sci-fi show since Battlestar Galactica, hands down. So if
Okay.
you're a sci-fi nerd, The Expanse, get it.
Hell yeah, you got to see it. Now we'll move on to one last of these little segments here,
Okay.
and so I had posted this on Instagram yesterday, but by the time this airs, what's the date? This will be June 24th when this is going out. This was a while ago, but I recently picked up a vinyl copy of Mindless Self-Indulgence's Frankenstein Girls Will Seem Strangely Sexy, which is my favorite album of all time.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, so it's an album that I heard when I had maybe just turned. I'm talking a lot about being 16 today, but I was like probably just 15, 16 years old at my most impressionable. I had just started really getting into making beats and electronic music,
Okay.
and this album got thrown into my lap out of nowhere. It was just one of those things where I was at the food court, Monroeville Mall, and somebody like very stereotypically put their headphones on me, like, you got to check this out. And like mind exploding type shit. It's off the rails. It's my favorite album ever. I'm not saying it's the best album ever. It's
Just your favorite.
it's my favorite album. It's definitely the most influential album. It really just like changed the course of
For you.
history for me.
You know what? That's funny you say that, because I was just thinking about this the other day, and like how I got into what I do. I was like umpiring baseball games and delivering newspapers, and somebody was like, dude, I burned this CD. And I was like, what do you mean you burned a CD? He's like, I took this music from the internet and I put it onto the CD. And I was like, shut up, bro. I was like, he's like, it's this thing called Napster. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I looked at it, I was like, this is crazy. And I listened to the CD, and I was like, it was the first time I heard something that wasn't on the radio before. Like, all you ever heard was the radio and MTV. There was no, you might hear somebody play acoustic guitar by the fire or something, but you never heard a band playing a different style, and it was atmosphere. And he was like, this is some kid in Minneapolis making this in his basement. And I was like, this is insane. I was like, I need everybody to hear this. So like I've started burning a bunch of CDs, and I was like, I'm gonna buy DJ equipment so people can hear this stuff. And my buddy's like, you won't do that. And I ran into this dude 2 weeks ago for the first time in years. So we were talking this story. And he's like, I claim all your fame for the rest of your life for introducing to Atmosphere. And I was like, all right, I'll give you some of it. But so I bought DJ equipment, just started doing like house parties and proms and weddings. I'd be playing Atmosphere at him, and everybody's like, what's this kid doing? And I was like, I just wanted everybody to hear all this different music. And then here I am now. Like I just got out of the DJ, and I was like, yeah, I'm more on the business side of things.
Sure. That's fucking awesome. Though.
Yeah.
I love that story. But yeah, dude. So, like I'm a huge record collector, and that Mindless Self-Indulgence album, it was never on vinyl, but it just recently got released for the
that's
first
awesome,
time
man.
on vinyl. So I got a copy. I listened to it yesterday, actually. I like put it on, just fucking sat down and just like listened to the whole thing. It was a really nice time travel.
Yeah.
And I also had the very vinyl stereotypical, like I heard things I never heard before, man. Moments, which I did.
You do. I mean, vinyl sounds it's different.
Yeah,
obviously.
it is. And I think the way that I don't think I ever listened to that album with the intent and attention to detail that I did yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so if you've never heard that album, I'm not going to tell you, if you're not familiar with it, I'm not going to tell you what kind of music it is. Just check it out. It'll explain a lot about me. And if you're somebody that does know about that band, you might know what I'm talking about. You might think I'm crazy, but hey, you know what? It's my podcast, not yours. So,
Yep.
Mindless Self-Indulgence, Frankenstein Girls, you got to hear it. And would you say Atmosphere is maybe yours, or do you got another one?
You know what? Atmosphere would be like definitely the most influential for me, that changed my mind the most.
What about anything like recently you've been listening to that's been blowing your mind?
You know what? Like, so I now with the Spotify world, I listen to so much more,
Dude,
not
isn't
whole
it, like,
albums
it's, like,
anymore.
really hard to I find it really hard to actually like develop a relationship with
Yeah.
any new music.
I do. I'm the same way. And especially I never really have time to sit down and listen to a whole album. Like, I honestly don't see why people aren't going with like six track like EPs all the time.
Totally.
Now. That's just the people's mindset nowadays. Like, that's how much time I can maybe put 25 minutes into doing something. An hour is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed it. Like, I'm just like, again, I mean, we're the same age.
Yeah.
So we come from that album generation.
Yeah. And I miss that. You know?
I miss it. And that's the way I think about releasing material. And it's so hard for me now because the writing's on the wall. I fucking see it.
Yeah.
You could check your stats. And like always with whenever we release albums with Grey Walker, Sex and New Violence, it's like always, the first 3/4 of the album have all the hits. And then by the end, people were just tapping out because it's not even, it might not even be that they don't like it. It's just,
you just don't
people
get there.
don't have the time for it.
You just don't get there. Like, even like some of my favorite artists that put out albums now, I still don't even listen to those all the way through. And even a lot of my favorite, like the Atmosphere, the Rhyme Sayers, like Aesop Rock, Sage Francis, like that's like my favorite. And it's like, even when I hear their albums now, it's just like, man, it's not like it was when I was 16.
Sure.
Like, I just don't hear it or feel the same. It's like listening to an Eminem. Eminem can't be that mad, man. Eminem's got $100 million. You aren't that mad at Tipper Gore anymore. Come on, man.
Sure.
You probably park your Bentley underneath another Bentley, bro.
Yeah, Eminem.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, hey, again, MSI, you got to hear it. And kind of, wrapping things up here. We're almost at the end of our road here. I'm noticing now this is our new setup. I kept forgetting to do the listener questions button. So since I forgot to do that, let's wrap this up on one last listener question. What do you say? Let's go back in. Let's see what happens here. Uh-oh. I'm getting messages. I got to find out a better way to... I don't even know how to get rid of that. How do you get rid of that?
We might be in a slight predicament here.
I probably have to zoom out.
Yeah, oh yeah, there we go.
I got to zoom out, close it. All right, so it would be really nice if you listen to the podcast. Don't message me when I'm recording podcasts. As if you know. As if you know that I'm doing this right now. Let's scroll down a bit. Some good ones in here.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give Josh Elsas some love because he doesn't pop in here too often. So Josh Elsas asks, "Are anniversary album tours cool, or is it just an excuse to keep from making new music?" I wouldn't say that it's an excuse to keep from making new music, but it is definitely an easy excuse to make a really money generating tour very easily.
Yeah, I mean 100%. I mean that's what it is. But also, you know what? You want to hear the classics. We were just saying, like, if Atmosphere puts out a new album, I'm going to listen to the 3 singles off of it.
Sure, but if he does his
But
God Loves
but if
Ugly
he says
anniversary
but if
tour
he
or
says there's
whatever,
God Loves Ugly, I am there.
well, that would be
you
more than
know?
10 years.
That
I
was
think
it was
even I
20
think
it was
even
20 years
yeah,
it was 20 years like 4 months ago.
okay.
It popped up on Facebook, which I was like, it's like, man, I had the albums before that, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Like
like Overcast or what yeah,
Overcast,
yeah.
yeah, Lucy Ford and all that
Ah,
stuff. Like, damn,
shit,
like
dude, it makes you feel so
I mean,
not young,
yeah,
but it's
some of
cool.
them are getting closer to 30
And
than
the oth
than the other way,
the
you know?
other interesting thing about this point is that we were talking about kinda like the fine line of, like, being sleazy and just being smart when it comes to
Yeah.
business, and this is just kind of like a smart
Yeah,
business
you know what?
move.
Like I went to Riot Fest with my brother like 3 years in a row, and they would always have a few bands that would play like a whole album, and everybody was at that. You know, and it's like it's cool. You know, if I hope don't do that forever and that be your only thing. But if you want
Sure.
to do it every now and
It's a
then, fine,
special
whatever.
if
Yeah,
Mindless Self-Indulgence did that the Frankenstein Girls album I was talking about, you know
yeah.
what I mean? I would go
Oh
anywhere
my god,
to fucking
yeah.
watch them play that thing front to back. Are you kidding me?
Are they still playing right now?
They're on like a hiatus right now. I don't think that they are disbanded, but they haven't released any new material in a while. But their vocalist, who is kind of like he's pretty much the band, he's been releasing music under just his name, like solo
Yeah,
music. So I have a feeling that maybe either there's some shit with the members just not getting
gotcha.
along, or maybe they just don't want to do it right now. So he's just, putting out solo
One of these
stuff.
podcasts, you should just call and ask.
Yeah.
Just see what
Dude,
happens.
I've thought about this before. Like, if I could talk to anybody, it would probably be Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self Indulgence. Like, I would love to just pick that dude's brain for hours about just
I
music
bet you
production and
you
shit like that.
probably could talk to him.
It's not
I bet.
impossible. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. But, I'm taking my baby steps now with, like, trying to move into this new space and start figuring things out and just I need to establish a platform that might be
Yeah,
more inviting to strangers.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, again, I mean, as cool as it would be to have him come over to my, fucking house up the street, and go, because that's actually where all my music shit is. That's kind of where we need to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Around all the synthesizers and shit. But, yeah. So, hey, one day, nothing's impossible. I'm not
No,
stopping this anytime soon.
keep doing it.
What do you think? Where do you think your 5-year trajectory is? Do you want to just kind of stay where you are now, or do you got some other bigger goal that you're working on?
So now what I'm really focusing on is not trying to work as many hours. Because as crazy as it sounds, I started 2 months ago. So 2 months ago, I was doing nothing. I was working selling point of sale systems to restaurants. And 2 months later, I'm working with 7 venues and now have a full-time staff member, a graphic designer, and somebody else. So like stuff's happening really fast. So now my
Sure.
focus is to learn to delegate better, work with people, and try not to work as many hours. So that's my priority number one. 5 years from now, it's hard to say, but I want to be doing the same thing I'm doing. I really like this company I'm working with, and everybody that I'm working with is great. I'd like to see things grow there and hit a sustainable level. Because I mean, every goal in the music industry is it'd be great for it to be on cruise control one day,
Totally.
where you know that somebody's helping book the show, somebody's there to run production, somebody's marketing it and oversee all of it, let everybody do what they specialize in. That's the ultimate goal and what I really want to be doing.
I guess it is like really hard just with what we do, because the music industry is just so unpredictable. Like, you
Oh
never
yeah,
know
never.
what's going to be happening
Well, like
in 5 months from now, let alone 5 years.
and I had a show get canceled today because of rain. Because it rained friggin' 2 inches again today. You know,
Uh
it's
huh.
like, and then now you got to move that show to another time, and it's like you just never know.
Yeah. So this is pretty much it.
Cool.
This
Well,
is the end of the road. Now I wish I had a Boys to Men end of the road cue to throw up, but I don't. So the best I could do is my outro that I already have. And yeah. And that's all, folks.
Thanks for having me
so
on.
much for listening. Thanks for being here. Kevin Saftner.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Do the real one?
The last guest I had last week did a handshake thing too, and I was like, oh shit, I guess maybe this
How does this work?
I guess this is gonna be a thing now. We're gonna be handshaking.
Chest bump.
So yeah, but hey, you know what? I'll be back again. I'm uploading 2 times a week now, so I don't know if this is uploading on Monday or Thursday. So I don't know if I should say, I'll be back again next week or back again later this week. I always used to say next week, but now that I'm doing 2 times a week,
It might not be.
I just literally had that epiphany like right now.
I'll be back soon.
So I'll be back for the next one. Mondays, Mondays and Thursdays. That's when we're uploading. So whatever. If it's God, I'm sorry. Sometimes you just need to be a little bit more prepared and
Quit while you're behind.
yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. My name is Sykes. Start the beat. 2019. Woo! Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Sweet.
Cool. That was awesome, man.
That was fun.